Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's English Listening Podcast. I am so happy that you are here with me. Thank you for taking the time to listen and practice your English. Today, we have a very simple, very friendly, and very useful topic. The title of our podcast is A Day in My Life. In this episode, I am going to share with you what a normal day in my life looks like, from the morning when I wake up until the evening when I go to sleep. Now you may ask, why are we talking about a day in my life? The reason is very clear. When you learn English, it is important to start with everyday topics. Daily routines like waking up, eating breakfast, going to work or school, and relaxing at home are things that all people do. We all have a daily routine, and these activities are very common in conversation. That is why learning how to talk about your day is very important for you. If you can describe your daily life in English, then you can introduce yourself to new people. You can share your habits with friends. You can talk to teachers, classmates, or colleagues. And you can even write about yourself in English. So this is a very useful skill. That is why today I will slowly and carefully take you through my day. I will use simple words and easy sentences so you can understand everything. In this podcast, you will hear many words and phrases about time. For example, in the morning, at 7 o'clock, in the afternoon, or at night. You will also hear many action words or verbs like wake up, eat, go, study, work, relax, and sleep. These words are all part of daily life. I will say them slowly, and sometimes I will repeat them so that you can listen carefully and practice with me. I encourage you, as you listen, to imagine your own day. Think about your morning. What time do you usually wake up? Do you have breakfast at home, or do you eat something outside? Do you go to school, or do you go to work? What do you do in the afternoon? And how do you relax in the evening? These are the kinds of questions you should think about while listening. Another thing I want to remind you is this: listening is not enough. To really learn English, you need to use the language actively. So, while listening, please repeat some of the words and sentences with me. For example, if I say, I wake up at 7 o'clock, you can also say, I wake up at 7 o'clock. This way, you are not only listening but also practicing speaking. If you are shy, no problem. You can speak softly or even just whisper. The most important thing is to use your voice and practice. Also, if you want to make your practice stronger, I recommend you take a notebook and a pen. When you hear new words or useful phrases, write them down. For example, when I say brush my teeth, you can write it in your notebook. Later, you can review these notes and practice again. Writing will help you remember better. Let me tell you what you can expect in this episode. The podcast will have 6 sections. In this first section, I am welcoming you, introducing the topic, and preparing your mind for learning. In the next sections, we will go step by step through my day. First, we will talk about my morning routine. Then, we will move on to my work or study time. After that, we will talk about my afternoon and what I usually do in my free time. Later, I will share my evening routine. And finally, in the last section, I will give you a short review and some questions for reflection. This way, you will not only hear about my day, but you will also learn how to describe your own daily routine in English. By the end of the podcast, I hope you will be able to say in English, I wake up at this time, I eat breakfast, I go to work or school, I do this activity, I spend time with my family, and I sleep at this time. If you can do that, then you will have achieved something very important. Before we start, I also want to remind you about one more thing. Learning English takes time, patience, and practice. Do not worry if you do not understand every single word in this podcast. That is completely normal. What matters is that you understand the main idea and that you keep listening. Over time, as you listen more and more, your brain will get used to the sounds of English, and you will understand more words naturally. So please, relax, enjoy, and do not stress. Now I want you to prepare yourself. Find a quiet place, if possible, where you can listen without too much noise. Sit down, relax your body, and focus on the words you are hearing. If you want, close your eyes for a moment and just listen. Imagine that you are spending the day with me, walking with me from the morning until the evening. This will make the experience more real for you. All right, my dear listeners, let us begin our journey together. In the next section, I will tell you about my morning routine. We will start with the time I wake up, and then I will share with you what I usually do in the first hours of my day. But before that, take a deep breath, smile, and get ready to enjoy English learning with me. Now let's begin with the first part of my day, my morning routine. The morning is a very important time because it sets the tone for the rest of the day. Some people love mornings, and they wake up full of energy. Other people feel tired in the morning, and they need more time to start. For me, my morning is usually calm, simple, and organized. Let me tell you step by step what I do. I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. Sometimes, if I am very tired, I wake up a little later, maybe at 7:15. But most days, my alarm rings at 7 and I open my eyes. When I wake up, the first thing I do is take a few deep breaths and stretch my body. Stretching helps me feel awake and ready. I say to myself, "Good morning, it is a new day." This small thought helps me start the day with a positive mind. After waking up, I go to the bathroom. The first thing I do in the bathroom is brush my teeth. I use my toothbrush and toothpaste to clean my teeth. Brushing my teeth in the morning makes me feel fresh and clean. After that, I usually wash my face with cold water. The cold water makes me feel more awake, and it gives me energy. Sometimes, I also take a quick shower in the morning, especially if I feel very sleepy. The warm water relaxes me, and the cold water refreshes me. When I finish in the bathroom, I go back to my room and choose my clothes for the day. If it is a work day, I usually wear something formal, like a shirt and trousers. If it is the weekend, I wear something more comfortable, like a t-shirt and jeans. Choosing my clothes is a small but important part of my morning because it prepares me for the activities of the day. After getting dressed, I go to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. Breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. It gives me energy and helps me concentrate. On most mornings, I eat something simple but healthy. For example, I may eat bread with butter and jam, or sometimes I eat eggs. I also like to eat fruit in the morning, like an apple or a banana. And of course, I drink something. Many days I drink tea, but sometimes I drink coffee. Tea makes me feel calm, and coffee gives me more energy. It depends on the day. While I eat breakfast, I often like to listen to something. Sometimes I listen to the radio, sometimes I listen to music, and sometimes I listen to an English podcast just like this one. Listening in the morning helps me wake up my mind and prepare for learning or working. It is also a good way to practice English every day, even if only for a few minutes. After breakfast, I usually take a short time to plan my day. I sit down with my notebook or my phone and I write down the things I need to do. For example, I write, finish my project, send emails, go shopping, or study English. Making a small plan in the morning helps me stay focused. It is a very simple habit, but it makes my day much easier. When my breakfast is finished and my plan is ready, I prepare to leave the house. Before going out, I check my bag. I make sure I have everything I need, my keys, my phone, maybe a book and a bottle of water. If I'm going to work, I also check that I have my documents. If I'm going to study, I check that I have my books and pens. Being ready in the morning helps me feel confident for the rest of the day. So, to summarize my morning routine, I wake up at 7 o'clock. I stretch my body and think positively. I brush my teeth and wash my face. I get dressed for the day. I eat a healthy breakfast with tea or coffee. I listen to something while eating, sometimes an English podcast. I make a short plan for the day. I check my bag and prepare to leave the house. This is how my morning usually looks. It is not very complicated, but it is full of small habits that make me ready for the day. Now I want you to think about your own morning. What time do you usually wake up? Do you use an alarm clock, or do you wake up naturally? Do you brush your teeth first, or do you eat breakfast first? What do you usually eat in the morning? Do you drink tea, or do you prefer coffee? Do you listen to music, or do you like silence in the morning? Take a moment to imagine your own routine and compare it with mine. Maybe your morning is similar, or maybe it is very different. Both are okay. The important thing is that you can describe it in English. For example, you can say, I wake up at 6 o'clock. I brush my teeth. I drink coffee. I eat bread and cheese. Even simple sentences like these are powerful because they help you express your life in English. Remember, practicing English with your daily routine is a great idea. Every morning when you are brushing your teeth, you can say to yourself in English, I am brushing my teeth. When you are eating breakfast, you can say, I am eating bread. When you are drinking tea, you can say, I am drinking tea. In this way, your daily routine becomes your English classroom. You do not need a special place. You only need your voice, your actions, and a little imagination. So, my dear listeners, this is the story of my morning. It is the first part of my day, and it prepares me for work, study, and everything that comes later. In the next section of the podcast, I will tell you about what I usually do after the morning, my work or study time. There, you will hear more useful words and phrases that you can also use in your daily life. For now, I want you to reflect and maybe write a few sentences in your notebook about your morning routine. Use simple English. It does not need to be perfect. For example, write, I wake up at 6:30. I brush my teeth. I eat breakfast. I drink tea. I go to school. This short exercise will help you remember the new words and make your English stronger. All right, let's take a small pause here. You did very well listening to this long section about my morning routine. Get ready, because in the next part, we will continue with my day and move to my work or study activities. After the morning routine, the next part of my day is my work or study time. This part of the day is usually the busiest. For me, it normally starts around 8:30 or 9 o'clock. After I finish my breakfast and prepare my things, I leave my home and go to work. Some days, instead of work, I study, so I will tell you about both situations. When I go to work, the first thing I do is travel. My workplace is not very far, but it still takes me some time to get there. I usually walk to the bus stop, wait for the bus, and then take the bus into the city. The bus ride takes about 20 minutes. During this time, I sometimes listen to music, sometimes read a book, and sometimes just look out of the window. This short journey helps me think about the day ahead. When I arrive at work, I greet my colleagues. I usually say, "Good morning. How are you?" It is a small habit, but it makes the workplace friendly. After that, I sit down at my desk, turn on my computer, and start my tasks. My work changes depending on the day, but often it includes writing emails, preparing reports, and having short meetings with my team. We talk about what needs to be done, who will do it, and when we must finish. These meetings are not very long, but they are important to keep everything organized. Sometimes my work also involves talking to people outside my office. For example, I might have an online meeting. In this case, I prepare my notes before the meeting, check my microphone, and make sure everything is ready. During the meeting, I listen carefully, ask questions, and write important points. Communicating clearly is very important in work, so I always try to listen well and speak simply. On other days, instead of going to work, I focus on studying. For example, I study English or another subject. When I study, I usually stay at home or go to a library. I sit at a quiet table, open my books, and prepare my materials. I often make a study plan. First reading, then listening practice, then writing a few sentences. Making a plan helps me stay focused and not waste time. When I study English, I like to use different methods. Sometimes I read a short story and underline new words. Sometimes I listen to a podcast and try to repeat the sentences. Other times, I write a short paragraph about my day. Mixing these activities helps me practice reading, listening, writing, and speaking all together. Whether I'm working or studying, I usually take a short break in the middle of the morning. Around 11 o'clock, I stop for 10 minutes. I drink some water, maybe eat a small snack, and move my body. Breaks are very important because they give energy and make me more productive. So, you see, this part of my day is full of activity. It is not always easy, but I enjoy it because it helps me grow, learn, and connect with others. Now I want to ask you, my listeners, what about your work or study time? Do you go to an office, a school, or maybe a university? How do you travel there? Do you walk, ride a bus, or maybe take a bicycle? When you arrive, what do you do first? Do you talk to friends or classmates, or do you go straight to your work? Do you also take short breaks? Try to think about your answers in English. You can say, I go to school by bus. I arrive at 8 o'clock. I study math and English. I take a break at 10:30. These simple sentences are very good practice. If you want, write them in your notebook or say them out loud. To summarize, in my work or study time, I travel by bus. I greet colleagues or classmates. I do tasks like emails, reports, meetings, or studying English. I take a short break. This is the second big part of my day. After this, the day continues into the afternoon, where I usually have lunch and some free activities. But before we move to that, I want you to remember this. Learning how to talk about your work or study time in English is very useful. It is one of the most common topics in daily conversations. People often ask, "What do you do?" or "Where do you study?" If you can answer simply and clearly, you will feel more confident in English. All right, let's stop here for this section. In the next part of the podcast, we will talk about the afternoon and leisure activities. There, I will tell you about my lunch, my hobbies, and the things I do to relax. So stay with me, keep listening, and keep practicing. After the busy morning of work or study, the day continues into the afternoon. For me, the afternoon usually begins with lunch. Around 1 o'clock or sometimes 1:30, I stop working and eat my lunch. Lunch is very important because it gives me new energy to continue the day. If I am at work, I sometimes eat in the office cafeteria. If I am at home, I prepare something simple in the kitchen. My lunch is not always the same. Sometimes I eat rice with vegetables, sometimes I eat a sandwich, and other times I eat pasta. I always try to include something healthy, like a salad or some fruit. After lunch, I usually drink a glass of water or tea. Once I finish my lunch, I often take a short rest. This rest is not very long, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. I sit quietly, close my eyes, and relax my mind. Some people like to take a short nap, but I usually just sit in silence or read something light, like a short article. This small break helps me recharge before continuing with the afternoon. After resting, I usually spend some time on personal activities or hobbies. These activities change depending on the day. For example, I enjoy reading books in the afternoon. Reading helps me relax, but it also improves my knowledge and my English skills. Sometimes I read novels, sometimes I read history, and sometimes I read news articles. Reading in English is not always easy, but I try to choose simple material so that I can understand and enjoy the story. Another activity I like to do in the afternoon is exercise. If the weather is nice, I go outside for a walk. Walking helps me stay healthy and gives me fresh air. Sometimes I also do light exercises at home, like stretching or simple workouts. Exercise is not only good for the body, but also good for the mind. After moving my body, I feel more active and ready for the evening. On some afternoons, I also spend time with friends or family. We might meet for tea, have a short conversation, or walk together in the park. Talking with people I care about makes me feel happy and connected. Even a short meeting in the afternoon can make the day more enjoyable. Sometimes, instead of socializing, I use the afternoon to continue my studies. For example, I might listen to another English podcast, watch a video, or write a few sentences in English. Afternoon is a good time for practice because my mind is still active but more relaxed than in the morning. When I learn in the afternoon, I do not push myself too hard. I keep it simple and fun so that I enjoy the process. Of course, there are also days when the afternoon is not very exciting. Some afternoons I simply do housework. I clean the kitchen, wash the dishes, or do laundry. These are small but necessary tasks. They may not be interesting, but they are part of daily life, and I try to do them with patience. To give you a clear picture, let me summarize my typical afternoon. Around 1 o'clock, I eat my lunch. After lunch, I take a short rest or relax quietly. I spend time on hobbies like reading or exercising. Sometimes I meet friends or family for a short time. Other times, I continue studying English or doing housework. That is what my afternoon usually looks like. Of course, every day is not exactly the same, but these activities are quite common for me. Now, I want you to think about your own afternoon. What do you usually eat for lunch? Do you eat with family, friends, or alone? After lunch, do you rest or do you continue working or studying? Do you have hobbies in the afternoon, like reading, playing games, or doing sports? Do you sometimes meet friends, or do you prefer to stay home? Take a moment and imagine your answers in English. For example, you can say, I eat lunch at 12:30. I eat rice and chicken. I take a nap after lunch. I play football with my friends. I read a book in the afternoon. These short sentences may look simple, but they are very useful because they describe real life. The more you practice describing your daily life, the easier English will become for you. Another small tip: if you want to improve your English, try to connect your hobbies with English practice. For example, if you like watching movies, watch them with English subtitles. If you enjoy reading, read short English books. If you like music, listen to English songs and learn the lyrics. In this way, your hobbies will also become your teachers. So, my dear listeners, that is my afternoon. It is a mix of lunch, rest, hobbies, studies, and sometimes social time. This part of the day is lighter than the morning, but still very important. In the next section, we will talk about the evening routine, which usually includes dinner, family time, and preparation for sleep. That is when the day begins to slow down and come to an end. After the afternoon comes the evening, which is one of my favorite parts of the day. The evening usually begins around 6 o'clock, when the sun starts to go down and the air becomes cooler. For me, the evening is a time to slow down, spend time with family, and prepare for the night. Let me take you through my typical evening step by step. The first main activity in the evening is dinner. I usually eat dinner around 7 o'clock. Sometimes it is a little earlier, sometimes a little later, but 7 is the usual time. Dinner is the biggest meal of my day, and I enjoy it very much. If I am at home, I often eat with my family. We sit around the table, share food, and talk about our day. This is a very special moment because everyone can relax and connect after work or school. The food for dinner is often warm and filling. For example, we might eat rice with meat and vegetables, soup with bread, or sometimes pasta. After dinner, I usually drink water or tea. Once dinner is finished, the evening continues with family time. Sometimes we watch television together. We may watch a news program, a movie, or a comedy show. Other times, we simply sit and talk. We share stories, laugh together, and enjoy each other's company. These small conversations are very important because they keep the family close. If I am not with family, I sometimes use the evening to do personal activities. For example, I might continue reading my book, listen to music, or even go for a short walk outside. The evening is calm, and walking at this time feels peaceful. I can see the lights of the city, hear the sounds of people talking, and feel the cool night air. Another important part of my evening is studying or working on small tasks. After dinner, I sometimes review my English lessons. I listen to a short podcast, watch a video, or write a paragraph about my day. This evening study is not very long, maybe 20 or 30 minutes, but it helps me practice every day. If I do not study, I might use this time to prepare for the next day. For example, I check my bag, prepare my clothes, and write a to-do list. These small actions make my next morning easier. Around 9 o'clock, I usually begin to relax more deeply. I might lie on the sofa and watch something light, or I might use my phone to chat with friends. Sometimes I scroll through social media, but I try not to spend too much time there. Instead, I prefer quiet activities that help me feel calm before sleep. Later, before going to bed, I focus on my night routine. Around 10 or 10:30, I brush my teeth, wash my face, and change into comfortable clothes. After that, I sometimes read a few pages of a book in bed. Reading at night helps me relax and fall asleep more easily. Finally, around 11 o'clock, I turn off the lights and go to sleep. So, to summarize my evening routine, at 7 o'clock, I usually have dinner. After dinner, I spend time with family watching TV or talking. Sometimes I read, listen to music, or take a walk. I study or prepare for the next day for a short time. Around 10, I brush my teeth and get ready for bed. At 11, I go to sleep. Now I want you to think about your own evening. What do you usually eat for dinner? Do you eat alone or with your family? Do you watch television or do you spend time on your phone? Do you study or prepare your things for tomorrow? At what time do you usually go to bed? Try to answer these questions in English. For example, you can say, I eat dinner at 8 o'clock. I eat with my family. I watch TV in the evening. I study English for 30 minutes. I go to bed at 10:30. Even if your answers are short, they are good practice. Every time you speak about your daily life in English, you become more confident. The evening is a special time because it closes the day. It is a chance to connect with loved ones, relax your body, and prepare your mind for tomorrow. By talking about your evening in English, you can share an important part of your life with others. So, my dear listeners, that is my evening routine. In the next and final section of this podcast, I will give you a short review and reflection. We will go over the whole day together and think about how you can use these ideas to practice your own English.